till now, what were we handling? We were handling single cash flows. Okay, we were handling single cash flows, whether it was an outflow here or it was an inflow here. We were handling single bullet payments. These are called bullet payments. But in real life, it is not usually the case कि आपको खाली bullet payments का present value या future value निकालना पड़े. It might be that there are a series of payments. There are a series of payments or series of cash flows. Okay, there might be a series of cash flows जिसका you might have to calculate PV or you might have to calculate the future value. Now, what do I mean by series of cash flows? Let's take an example that we are a suppose a car manufacturing company and we want to set up a new plant. Okay, we want to set up a new plant. ये प्लांट का बहुत ही घटिया सा ड्राइंग है, बट ये हम लोग का नया प्लांट है that we want to set up. Setting up this plant may we will obviously require some cash outflow. That cash outflow might be in years, right? एक साल में प्लांट बन जाए, गाड़ी बनाने का it seems very difficult, so you will have to maybe give a cash outflow of 10 million in first year, 10 million in second year and 10 million in third year, right? तो ये तीनों कैश आउटफ्लो आप कर रहे हो, यहाँ पे आपका जाके प्लांट रेडी हो गया. तो जब प्लांट रेडी होगा उसके बाद आप यहाँ से प्रोड्यूस करना स्टार्ट करोगे, राइट? यू आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट प्रोड्यूसिंग कार्स. ये मैंने बनाया है टेस्ला का साइबर ट्रक. आई थिंक इलॉन मस्क ने भी ऐसे ही लाया होगा इसे. ये कार बनाएगा ये. अब ये कार बनेगा, उसके बाद वो कार की बिक्री होगी. देयर माइट बी अ लीड टाइम टू बिल्डिंग अ कार, राइट? फर्स्ट डे आपका कार रेडी नहीं हो सकता फैक्ट्री बनते. You may take 6 months. Let's assume we take a year to manufacture 100 cars. ठीक है? अब वो 100 cars को we sell, assuming we sell all of them, we get a cash inflow. We get a cash inflow at time point 3. इधर जाके हम लोग का first cash inflow होगा, right? This cash inflow, suppose by selling this 100 cars, is again 10 million only. ठीक है? But this will keep on giving me cash inflows. First year I produced 100. Next year, suppose I produce 150 because of added efficiencies, or maybe more sales demand. पहले I was running it at under capacity. अब मैं उसका capacity बढ़ा के 150 produce किया, 150 बिकी, मुझे 15 का inflow मिला. At time period 4 मुझे 15 का inflow मिला. और ऐसे ये चलते रहेगा. Now, how do we do a PV? How do we value this investment now? What is the value of this investment now? How do we decide that we want to make this investment or not? ये हम लोग को कैसे पता चलेगा? We will have to see हम लोग को कितना फायदा हो रहा है इससे versus how much money we are putting in, right? If net जो फायदा हो रहा है, the amount of sales that I am making from this factory in present value terms is higher than the cost of making the factory. That means net I am adding value to the company by putting up this factory. Net I'm giving a positive value add, okay, by setting up this factory. Correct, Tanay? You're with me? Okay, so this is how it works in a real life scenario. ठीक है? तो इसके बारे में आप पढ़ोगे, कॉर्पोरेट इशूअर्स नाम का एक सब्जेक्ट है, उसमें बहुत डिटेल में. बट अभी मैं आपको इसका मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ा रहा हूँ. इसके पीछे इसका पीवी कैसे करते हैं, हाउ टू हैंडल मल्टीपल कैश फ्लोज, उसका मैथमेटिक्स मैं आपको अभी बताऊंगा. We will start with a simple example.
Hi, do we have to write this down?
No, this you don't have to write. This is just an explanation. I will tell you what to write. So you will start writing now. Okay? The question is that a company has a manufacturing unit that till now, what were we handling? We were handling single cash flows. Okay, we were handling single cash flows, whether it was an outflow here or it was an inflow here. It makes goods out of this factory, giving a profit of $10 million in year 1, $7 million in year 2, and $3 million in year 3. What is the value of the unit right now? Are we clear with the question? एक factory है, there's a factory that the company is planning to sell 3 years later for $100 million. It is going to produce goods which will add to the net profit of the company to the tune of $10 million in year 1, $7 million in year 2, and $3 million in year 3. दिख रहा है ये फैक्ट्री का प्रोडक्शन धीरे धीरे कम हो रहा है, इसलिए बेचना होगा कंपनी को. तो अब इसका वैल्यू हम लोग अभी निकाले तो क्या वैल्यू होगा? अब ये वैल्यू क्यों निकालेंगे? देयर माइट बी एन ऑफर दैट अ कंपनी माइट बी गेटिंग राइट नाउ टू बाय. ठीक है, तो वो ऑफर को इवैल्यूएट करने के लिए पूछ रहा होगा. अदरवाइज दे माइट वांट टू डू अ फेयर वैल्यू असेसमेंट of the property to maybe put it as a disclosure somewhere in their books of accounts. They want to do a fair value disclosure of the property somewhere, to put it somewhere in the books of accounts. Okay, third reason might be that you are an investment manager who wants to value the company, and the company has only this particular asset. So this is the value that you would assign to the company. This is the value that you would assign to the company. हो सकता है उसके पास 2-3 अलग अलग फैक्ट्रीज हो, आप तीनों का अलग अलग कर रहे हो. दिस इज जस्ट अ पार्ट ऑफ द वैल्यूएशन ऑफ द एंटायर कंपनी. ठीक है, सो व्हाट आर द कैश फ्लोज? इट इज ऑलवेज गुड टू इमेजिन दिस इन अ टाइमलाइन फॉर्मेट. इट गिव्स यू क्लैरिटी कि कब कौन सा कैश फ्लो हो रहा है. सो आवर टाइमलाइन विल एंड एट 3 बिकॉज 3 में उसका वैल्यू आप फाइनली बेच दे रहे हो, तो 4 इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. Okay, 4 is not required. What do we know? We know that it is going to give 10 million of inflow over here. It is going to give 7 here, and यहाँ पे कितना देगा? यहाँ पे 3 देगा, plus you will get a terminal value of 100. ये जो 100 होता है ना, इसको salvage value भी बोलते हैं, इसको terminal value भी बोलते हैं. ठीक है, ये क्वेश्चन के ऊपर आप हेडिंग देना uneven cash flows, cash flow additivity principle. So how do we calculate the present value? I forgot to give you one information. The interest rate. The interest rate is 12% compounded quarterly. इससे आपका वो भी रिवाइज हो जाएगा, stated or annual rate. ठीक है. Now, Tanay, can you tell me how can we take the present value of these 3?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was thinking.
Yeah. Any guesses? ये कैसे करेंगे? भरत, आपको last class तक what we were doing, we were taking one cash flow and taking a PV, right? Correct. तो individually हर एक का हम लोग PV निकालेंगे, and सबका PV कहाँ होगा? Time point 0 पे होगा. So adding all the 3 PVs, we will get the value of the factory at time point 0. समझा था ना आपने?
No, I didn't understand. You said PV, but how do you calculate? Like for each year we will have to calculate.
Yes, correct. For each year, we will have to calculate separately. So we will find the PV of this 10 at time point 1, then we will find the PV of 7 at time point 2, and then this 3 plus 100, which is 103. ठीक है? Cash flow additivity principle क्या बोलता है? I will tell you the principle. You can read it here as well. Refers to the fact that PV of any stream of cash flows equals to the sum of PVs of the cash flow. ठीक है? This is the cash flow additivity principle. Can you see it here on my board?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the PV of a stream of cash flows is equal to the sum of PVs. PV of the stream of cash flows is equal to sum of PV of 1, PV of 2, and PV at 3. Understood? Now let's find PV1. What was the formula of PV? PV was FV into divided by, आपको स्टार्टिंग में कौन सा फॉर्मूला दिया था? FV is equal to PV into 1 plus I by Y to the power N. So what is PV? PV is FV divided by 1 plus I by Y to the power N. So for this particular cash flow, the future value is what? It is 10. Right? What is my I by Y? I gave you 12% compounded quarterly, but I by Y should be the effective rate. तने I by Y क्या होगा? 12% divided by
4. No, sorry,
Correct.
quarterly, I think 3.
क्वार्टरली में 4 होता है ना, 4 क्वार्टर होते हैं साल में.
Sorry, yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah. 4.
And what will be my N? N is number of compounding periods. So we are on year 1. So what is the number of compounding periods in year 1? Tane?
1 only, no?
4, because this is per quarter compounded quarterly. Right? So it will be 1
I
into
by Y,
4.
right? For
क्या
N also
तने?
you have to do that. For N also you have to because
Yes.
of the quarterly we have to multiply by 1.
Yes. For N also we
Hello?
take number
I can't
of
hear you. I can't hear you.
it is number. Hello, can you hear me now? Give me a second. I'll just try to change the Wi-Fi frequency. I think the Wi-Fi is not working properly. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Is it clear? Abhi sahi hai? So N is the number of compounding periods. So we are doing quarterly compounding. So how many compounding periods will be there in a year? 4. Confident? Pakka? एक बार पहले वाला revise कराऊं? So I'm assuming we are okay with this. So my FV is this. So I putting this onto the formula. What do we get? We get 10 by 1 plus 3% to the power 4, which is equal to 10 by 1.03 to the power 4. Okay. I am showing you on the calculator how this looks like. 1 point, what do we start with? We start with what is within the bracket, right? So 1.03 to the power 4 is equal to this. Now we do 1 by x. उसको denominator में लेके आने के लिए we do 1 by x to get it into the denominator. Into what was our cash flow? It was 10, right? So the present value of 10 1 year later at 3% compounded quarterly is 8.8849. Are you doing it with me, Tanay?
No, actually I don't have a calculator yet.
There is an app on your phone that you can download.
Okay.
Just do it in the meanwhile. Better होगा practice start कर दो so that these get मतलब this is the base. ठीक है? So
Yeah.
if this is straight, everything else is going to be a cakewalk for us.
What's the name of the calculator of the app?
BA2 plus. You can type BA2 plus and you'll get it.
Okay.
Are you an iPhone user or a Android user?
No, I'm not.
Android user हो तो आपका नाम BA Calc आएगा ऐसा. And iPhone में भी similar होगा. Did you find it?
For this also we have to go go to press second and then do it.
No, not for this method. For your TVM method, I will show it to you using the TVM method. For that, you need to press. Download हो गया आपका calculator?
Yeah.
So now using the TVM method, मैं आपको दिखा दे रहा हूँ. Second clear TVM. My future value is 10. 10. Press FV. My I by Y is what? It is 3%, right? So I press 3. Press I by Y. My N is 4. I press 4. Press N. I want the PV, so I do a CPT PV and get 8.8849, which you got by using the formula as well, right? Right? So if I write this, yeah,
Just one
बोलिए
second.
तने.
I pressed N as 4. Then how do I press for the PV thing? Oh, sorry. I have to press computer also.
Correct. CPT and then PV.
Yeah,
So if I say
8.88. Yeah.
8.8849, right? आ गया.
But I've got it in negative.
Yes,
I
because
think
your
maybe
future
because
value
of
was positive, right?
yeah.
ठीक है. So we got PV1 as 8.885. If I say PV1 is the present value of cash flow at time point 1, PV1 is present value of cash flow at T equal to 1. ठीक है. Can you guys calculate PV2 and PV3? Calculate करके बताइए. PV2 and PV3. Present value of cash flow at time point 2 and present value of cash flow at time point 3.
I think the second year, I think it is 6.21 or something.
6.21.
Yeah.
Second year के लिए आपने क्या लिया है? N is 2 years of discounting. So 2 years into compounding frequency was 4. I by Y remains the same as 3%. FV is equal to 7. Right? So I can do a second clear TVM. 7 as FV, 8 as N, 3 as I by Y and CPT PV. 5.52 आ रहा है. आपने second clear TVM किया था तने? Did you do second clear TVM? If you haven't done, it might come as incorrect.
I'm still getting the same answer. I don't know how.
You're using the TVM function now.
Oh yeah.
Second clear TVM करिए. Do it with me. Second clear TVM. Second clear TVM. Put 7. Press FV. Put 8. Press N. 3. I by Y. CPT PV.
Why did you press 8?
8 N होगा ना आपका. N क्या है आपका?
Oh, because 2 years. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was doing with 1 year only. I was doing with 4.
Yeah. ठीक है. You got the right answer now.
Just doing that only. 1 second. And yeah, got it.
Got it. PV3 भी निकाल लीजिए. 3 पे there are 2 cash flows, हाँ, 3 and 100. So the total of the 2 cash flows का PV you'll have to do, which is 103. 103 will be your FV. 72.242. तने आपका आया ये?
Yeah, got it.
Got it. So what is the value of my manufacturing unit right now? It is the sum of these 3. ठीक है. So what is the sum of these 3? 8.88 plus 5.52 plus 72.242. 80.6520. ओके. सो आपने क्या किया? ये 3 पीवी कैलकुलेट किया, ठीक है, और उसको सम किया. आपको ये लिखना पड़ा. You had to write it down somewhere. Now I will tell you without writing it down anywhere how to do this. ठीक है. Directly calculator से आप कैसे कर सकते हो? You don't have to write anything anywhere. Look at me. Look at the screen. do it with just look it, एक बार देख लो, उसके बाद आपको मैं टाइम दूंगा, फिर खुद से ट्राई करना, ठीक है? So second clear TVM, first we are calculating PV1. Okay, first we are calculating PV1. So first cash flow was 10 as FV. My N was 4. I by Y is 3. I do a CPT PV. This is my first inflow. Now I will store this. How to store? There is an STO button here. ठीक है? ये STO को आप press करो and you can store it in any of the digits. ठीक है? And I want to store it in 1, so I will press 1. Now it has been stored in STO1. How to check? ये store हो गया. Store करने वाला value को recall कर सकते हैं. You recall it by RCL button. ठीक है? So RCL1 press किया, देखिए आपको value दिख गया. ठीक है? You found the value. ये value को मैं STO2 में store कर देता हूँ. ठीक है? एक बार STO2 में भी ये value दिख गया. अब मैं अगर वैल्यू चेंज कर देता हूं to 5 and I store it in STO1, what will happen? It will rewrite the value in STO1. Add नहीं करता ये. It will rewrite the value in STO1. So if you recall 1, now you will see it as 5. But मैंने store कर दिया था इसको 2 में, so we still have the right value. This is just to show if you store something and then you use the same button to store something else, it rewrites the value. Tanay, you are with me?
No, I didn't understand.
You got confused?
Yeah.
So I will show it to you again. The first step is to calculate the present values. Okay. So first present value calculate करेंगे हम लोग. 10 था. 10 as future value, 4 as N, 3 as I by Y, CPT PV 8.8849. We have previously done this calculation. Now I am saying आपको पेपर पेन यूज नहीं करना है, आप यही वैल्यू को कैलकुलेटर में स्टोर कर दीजिए. How do you store it in the calculator? स्क्रीन पे आपको ये -8.88 दिख रहा है. You just press this button, STO button. Could you find this STO button on your calculator?
Yeah.
And then you can store it in any of the digits. ठीक है? So let's, for example, store it in STO1. तो मैंने STO प्रेस करके 1 प्रेस किया. Now this value has been stored in STO1. Now we can move ahead by calculating the second present value, that was PV2. ठीक है? Now we can move ahead and calculate the second present value, which is PV2. PV2 क्या था? 7 था second cash flow, right? 7 as FV. 2 years है, so 8 compounding periods हुए. 2 into 4, 8 as N, 3 as I by Y, CPT PV. यही आया था आपका PV2. आपने STO1 में PV1 स्टोर करके रखा था, तो अब मैं STO2 में इसको स्टोर कर देता हूं. I can store it in STO2. STO2 में मैंने स्टोर कर दिया इसको. Now this value has been stored in STO2. Tanay, clear what we are trying to do? Now let's do the third PV. Third PV कैसे करते हैं? 103 था FV. N क्या है? 3 into 4 which is 12. 3 years के बाद था वो 3 into 4 which is 12. I store it as N. My 3 will be I by Y. I do a CPT PV. This is the value we got. 1 and 2 is occupied. We store it in STO3. We store it in STO3. Now what is your answer? The answer to the question that you have to tick in your exam. ठीक है? You don't have to show any of your calculations. आपको बस tick करना है correct answer, right? So how do we find the final answer? We do an RCL1, get PV1, press the plus button. We do RCL2, we get the PV2, press the plus button. We do RCL3, we get the PV of 3, and we do equal to. You got the answer, right? And we did this using zero calculator, zero paper and pen, just by your calculator. Okay? So you can be very, very fast using the calculator. This is way one to do it without using paper and pen. I'll give you one another way. ठीक है, एक और वे बताता हूं मैं आपको. आंसर अपना 86.65 आया, राइट? 86.65. बिफोर आई टेल यू दी सेकेंड वे, आप लोग ये मेथड से एक बार ट्राई करो खुद से कैलकुलेटर में. Let me know if you are getting stuck somewhere. Now I'll tell you the second method. The second method is by using this function called cash flow. ठीक है? The second method is by using this function called cash flow. I do second clear work, second clear TVM. Second clear work, second clear TVM. ठीक है? ये कैश फ्लो मेथड से ये वाला क्वेश्चन करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है. मैं आपको एक दूसरा क्वेश्चन देता हूं, अपने वो कैश फ्लो मेथड से करते हैं. ठीक है? राइट डाउन द सेकेंड क्वेश्चन. लेट द क्वेश्चन बी द सेम. Interest rate, now instead of it being 12% compounded quarterly, it is 10% compounded annually. ठीक है? It is 10% compounded annually. ये आंसर आपने नोट डाउन कर लिया ना इसका, ये क्वेश्चन का, इन योर कॉपीज. सेम कैश फ्लोज, 10% compounded annually. Okay, so फर्स्ट मेथड से कर लेते हैं हम लोग. लेट्स फाइंड PV1, PV2 and PV3, and the sum of these three will give the value of my manufacturing unit. Okay, so what changes? First method से I'm showing it again. 10 FV, 10 FV, 10 as I by Y. N will be 1 because it is annual compounding and 1 year बाद ही आपको मिल रहा. N is 1, CPT PV. We store this in 1. Second year में what was the cash flow we are getting? 7. 7 as FV. 10 as, oh, I forgot to do second clear TVM. Sorry. 7 as FV, 10 as I by Y, and 2 as N. CPT PV. Store it in STO2. फिर second clear TVM. 103. At the end of third year, we are getting 103 as FV. 10 as I by Y. 3 as N, CPT PV. 77.38. We store it in STO3. Okay, what is our answer? RCL1 plus RCL2 plus RCL3, which gives us 92.2615. 92.2615. ठीक है? ये आपने क्रॉस वेरीफाई कर लेना बाद में. फॉर नाउ आई एम टेलिंग यू द सेकंड मेथड यूजिंग दिस. ओके, सेकंड मेथड इज यूजफुल जब आपके पास एनुअल कंपाउंडिंग हो, क्वार्टरली हो, मंथली हो, तो इट बिकम्स वेरी वेरी हेक्टिक. क्वार्टरली कंपाउंडिंग ये सब के लिए ये वाला जो मेथड है वो ही फॉलो करना. बट इफ इट इज एनुअल कंपाउंडिंग, सिंपल 3, 4, 5 पीरियड का कैश फ्लोज होगा, देन यूज दिस मेथड. सेकंड क्लियर TVM, कैश फ्लो फंक्शन. First cash flow at time point 0, CF0 is cash flow at time point 0, वो 0 ही रहेगा. ठीक है? I press enter, then I press this arrow down button. ठीक है? Arrow down button press करोगे तो आपको C01 मिलेगा. This is the cash flow at time point 1. This is the cash flow at time point 1. What was our cash flow at time point 1? It was 7. Sorry, it was 10. It was 10. 10 negative नहीं, सॉरी, पॉजिटिव ही था क्योंकि ये तो इनफ्लो आ रहा. 10 पॉजिटिव ही होगा. एंटर. सो एंटर करोगे तो आपको ये डेसिमल दिखने लग जाएगा, इसका मतलब आपका वैल्यू एंटर हो गया. ठीक है? फिर आप एक और बार एरो डाउन प्रेस करोगे तो वो F01 पूछता है. F01 इज नथिंग बट द फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ द कैश फ्लो. ये अभी आपका काम का चीज नहीं है, मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा ये कब यूज करना है. फॉर नाउ आवर फ्रीक्वेंसी इज 1 क्योंकि वी आर गेटिंग ओनली 1 कैश फ्लो ऑफ 10. ठीक है? सो आई प्रेस एंटर. नाउ आई गेट, press arrow down, I get C02. C02 मतलब सेकेंड ईयर का कैश फ्लो आपको पुट करना है. सेकेंड ईयर का कैश फ्लो क्या है आपका 7. सो आई प्रेस 7, आई प्रेस एंटर, डेसिमल आया मींस वैल्यू हैज बीन टेकन इन. नाउ आई प्रेस एरो डाउन, F02 पूछ रहा है, वो अभी 1 ही रहेगा हमारे लिए. सो आई प्रेस एरो डाउन अगेन. नाउ C3 it is asking which is cash flow at time point 3, which was 103 for us. 103. I press enter. This got this matlab the calculator accepted the value, it got fed in. Now what do we calculate? We want to calculate the present value of these cash flows. So to calculate the present value, we press this button called NPV. NPV is net present value. ठीक है? I press NPV. It is asking me I. भाई इंटरेस्ट रेट बता दे क्या है अब. ठीक है? I में आप क्या डालोगे जो आप I by Y में डाल रहे थे, which is 10 in this case. Which is 10 in this case. Again I press 10. I press enter. डेसिमल आया, वैल्यू एक्सेप्ट हो गया. अब एरो डाउन प्रेस करोगे, वो पूछ रहा है एनपीवी पूछ रहे हो. हाँ मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, आपको क्या प्रेस करना है? कंप्यूट प्रेस करना है. क्या आया? 92.26. the same answer that I got using the first method. Tanay, clear?
Yeah, kind of got it. I might have to check it again, but I'll just go through it later. But just wanted to ask that isn't the formula which you used before a bit easier? I don't know.
It is
That one was
upon your
more.
own comfort level, honestly. मतलब आपको जो comfortable लगे, whatever you use in practice, आप वही एग्जाम में यूज करना. Keep one particular strategy that you have. My job is to tell you all the methods which I am telling you. ठीक है? तो
Okay.
अब आपको जिसमें भी comfort हो, use that and solve the questions. So you can use the formula,
Okay.
you can use the TVM function, you can use the cash flow function. This function which I taught you is the cash flow function.